Hey guys, Sadowski here. Today, I am bringing you the most recent updates in the favorite co-op horror games. Normally, I would do a review at the end of it for some new upcoming games. However, this being the Halloween season, there has been a massive amount of new indie games being released. Everyone wanted to get out with the holiday season, so I'm going to hold off on mentioning any new games until I can get a chance to play a lot of them and go through them. I think it'd just be the most fair way to talk about a lot of these games that are being released. But for the games that are established, your co-op horror games, there has been a lot of updates, especially because of the horror season. We'll talk about those and we'll go through what some of those updates are so that you can have them all in one place and not have to go searching around. So remember, if you guys like the video and you enjoy the content in here to keep you up to date, please remember to like and subscribe for more information, more videos, and more stuff that you guys like to do. I can't grow from here and make things you want to see without your guys' feedback, and I appreciate every comment and every like. So please, like and comment if you can. The first one we'll talk about is Labrynthine. Now, Labrynthine added obviously new Halloween cosmetics, so there's pumpkins all over the place, there's special items that you can get that are for the Halloween season, and you can go ahead and explore a lot of that. They also added a new map to the game. It's called Cornfields, and it's available for anyone over the level 5, and it'll be available on the case files. For that map, they also added a new monster to it, and I don't want to ruin it for you, so you can go ahead and check that out. It is also the game's 1-year anniversary, so for that they did a sneak peek for the new chapter that they're going to release, and a sneak peek as well to the new case file maps that they're going to put out called the Sewer and the Manor. They've also did exclusive content just for owners of the game prior to now, so if you've owned the game within the last year, they've given everyone a special anniversary reward. In this new update, they've also added an infinite lives option to the game. However, in the case file mode, you'll receive a 90% experience deduction to any mission beaten in this fashion. But they've also added a few other bug fixes to improve the game's playability. They reduced the witch speed, they've improved the game's graphic performance, they've improved the AI of the monsters, and they've also added in some better kill animations. Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is, of course, one of the most popular co-op horror games out. They've added obviously a new Halloween event to them. They've released a new character called Michaela Reed. With the release of the new character and the Halloween, they've put in 2 new outfits, one for Michaela, who would be dressed up as a witch, and one for the doctor called the transplant outfit. They've added a jack-o'-lantern challenge to the game and special Halloween rewards. They've also added new charms for the season, such as the Sheet Ghost Wraith, the Nia Scarecrow, and the Black Cat with a witch hat. They've added new skills to the game for the Halloween season, and also if you log in at any point, they will give you 666,000 blood points. Dead by Daylight added this stuff for the Halloween season, so if you're a huge fan of the game, go ahead, get the new characters, check them out. Hunt Showdown. For the fans of the game Hunt Showdown, there has been quite a few new additions to the game. They've added a new event called the Harvest event, and in the event you can get points by destroying pumpkins and scarecrows throughout the map. They've added a little bit more of a difference to it, putting a giant pumpkin head onto the butcher. They've also added new weapons to the game. They called the Marwood, which is a Caldwell Rival 78, the Closed Casket, which is a Mosin Obrez mace, and the Executioner, which is a combat axe. With that being said, they've added a new character with the Harvest event called the Headsman, who is an Executioner style character. They've also released today a new DLC called Cold Blooded, and in this DLC there's a new character called the Reptilian. They've also released 2 new weapons with this DLC. One is the Avarice, which is a Marrow 77 Talon, and the Tooth and Tail, which is a bomb lance. Moving on to Malum. Malum has put out a new Halloween update, which includes 2 new characters, Peggy and Rob. They've also added in new consumables for players to use that will help point out artifacts and better items to increase the line of sight. And they've added a new achievement called the Magaruku Challenge. Now, Magaruku is a popular Malum content creator who has been known to achieve very hard levels of the game. In order to beat the Magaruku Challenge, you are required to beat all 4 maps on the hardest difficulty without dying. If you can do that, you will get the special achievement and you will have bragging rights. Malum has also added a small new cosmetic feature called Pets. In the game right now, the one release is called Frederick the Duck. He will appear in some maps. If you pick him up, you will get a duck in your lobby. The other thing that Malum has done is they have reduced the price of the cosmetics. So the characters that you could purchase, which would include the 2 new characters, now cost $500 instead of $1,000. Forewarned put out a new Halloween update where they added a new Magi. The Magi is Talger the Perilous. He is a invisible ability using Magi, and they suggest that you use the tablet in order to see him and move around. They've also added a new way to detect voices in the game by using a transmitter. Now, the transmitter, if you're familiar with games like Phasmophobia, works in a similar fashion. It is a voice recognition device that uses your mic in-game. What you do is you turn on the device and you wait until it prompts that it is able to speak. That is when you can ask basic questions. If you get a response, generally you can say that you have voices as evidence and you can mark that down. How it goes from there is going to be a whole nother ballgame. But for now, this is the most basic way that the equipment is being used in its current format. Forewarned has also added some other minor bugs and fixes. It's a game that should be kept an eye on. It's changing consistently and they're adjusting the game as requested and needed by the players. Bigfoot has added a new map. It's a winter map to its playfold, but that seems to be about the only major thing that Bigfoot has released in the recent time. The biggest update, Phasmophobia has released a massive update to their game, and this kind of changes almost everything about the game. Some for the better, some for the worst. Everyone has their own opinions on it, and I will keep my opinions about this update to myself. However, we will talk about what is included in this Nightmare update. It is called the Nightmare update. It is not Horror 2.0, which is what everyone is really waiting for. However, the Nightmare update does have a lot to unpack in this update. The biggest things that we could talk about is that it has a nightmare difficulty. And in the nightmare difficulty, it changes a lot of the way the game is played. You still have your amateur, intermediate, professional modes, but now it is added into a nightmare mode. Now in the nightmare mode, the change is that the ghost will only reveal 2 evidence types. So if you find 2, you will not find the 3rd one. You will have to figure out what the ghost is based on behavior and what we know about the ghost. The ghost will also change the room. So what was the ghost room at one point will possibly change to another room as the investigation goes on. You are not allowed any setup time, so as soon as you walk into the house or the map, there is already going to be activity and your sanity will start dropping. You will have the shortest hunt grace period, so the ghost can go from hunt to hunt within seconds. Before, you had some time in between each hunt, generally 60 to 90 seconds. However, with the nightmare mode, that is completely gone. The hunts are now even longer. Another thing that has been changed is during the hunt, if the ghost does happen to kill one of the players, it will not stop hunting. As a matter of fact, it will extend the amount of time that the ghost will hunt and agitate it even further. Sanity pills will add even less amount of sanity than prior to. It used to be that if you took sanity pills, it would add 40% to your health. At this time, it seems like it might be anywhere between 20 and 30. I do not have the specific numbers on how much sanity it is specifically, because in nightmare mode, you are not allowed to view your sanity levels. They've also reduced the amount of hiding places based on the difficulty level. In nightmare mode, you will basically have no hiding spots. You are going to have to use either looping skills or get creative with your hiding ability. Hunts and events all happen the same way. The light will flash and flicker just like it does during a hunt, but now you cannot determine whether it's a hunt or an event. However, I did notice one little workaround on that information. During a hunt, the ghost only makes certain sounds. The ones that I can think of off the top of my head are the gurgling and the sobbing. Those are the two sounds that ghosts always make only during a hunt and not during a manifestation. So if you hear one of the usual hunting sounds of a ghost, it is a hunt. If you do not hear that, it is just a manifestation. There has been other reworks to the difficulty levels. In amateur, which is recommended for all new ghost hunters, you will have a long setup time, you will have a long hunt grace period, you will have a short hunt duration. Sanity pills will restore a lot of your sanity, and you will regain half of your equipment if you die, so you will not lose everything if you happen to die. This changes as you go up in level. In intermediate, you have an average setup time, an average grace period, average hunt duration. Sanity pills restore some sanity, which is probably more akin to what we've been used to. The fuse box always starts off. There are fewer places to hide, and you regain some of your lost equipment's value if you die. In professional, which is really not many changes to what it was in the last big update, you will have no setup time, just like in nightmare mode. The ghosts will rarely change the ghost room. So in nightmare mode, what was once the room may not always be the room. It will change it consistently. In professional mode, it will not change it as often, but it still could happen. You will have a shorter hunt grace period. You will have a longer hunt duration. Sanity pills will restore less sanity than prior. The fuse box will always start off, and there are a lot less hiding spots. The amount of hiding spots in Nightmare will be significantly less than the previous levels before. Another thing that they've added into this new update is weather conditions. Every map has random weather conditions that you can spawn into. There are a total of 5 or 6 different weather conditions. You have clear skies, fog, light rain, heavy rain, strong wind, and light snow. At this time, it does not affect the game really. It doesn't sit on the environment. It's not all inclusive. However, it's just a nice little effect to give you a variety of different things. They've also added a new map called Maple Lodge Campsite. Now, the Maple Lodge Campsite is a medium-sized map that is more open to the elements. However, there is a cabin that you can find. In this new update and map, there are a lot of Easter eggs that they have planted into the game, and it will be fun for you to try and find them if you so choose to. They are planning on putting more detail on other maps later on with the future updates, but at this time, we're going to just focus on what is actually in this package, and we're not going to talk so much about what may come in future updates. Another thing that they changed is the Ouija board. Now, the Ouija board used to always drain sanity and massively drain sanity if you asked the wrong question. They've sort of reworked this process. Now, it's been revamped to alter your sanity in different ways. It will now lower your sanity greatly if the ghost responds, not the other way around. So if you get a response from the ghost, your sanity will go down much faster than if you didn't get a response. If the ghost doesn't respond, you will only lose a small fraction of your sanity. And the demons have had their weaknesses changed to reflect these changes, because before it used to be that you would never lose sanity if you ask a correct question, and you would lose more sanity if it didn't. This has now been switched in order to accommodate what used to be the demon's quality. They've also added 4 new ghost types that we can talk about. They've added the Onryo, the Twins, the Obake, and the Raiju. These 4 different types have different personalities, different strengths, and different weaknesses. We can do a future video on each of those, but for now we'll just talk about them in the broad sense. The Onryo is a fire ghost where it doesn't like fire and it will extinguish flames. Prior to hunting, it prefers not having any candles or fire sources near it. The twins can do activity in 2 different rooms in the map, but can only hunt one at a time. The Obake is a shape-shifting kind of demon where it likes to mimic humans. It may manifest in human form instead of in the ghost form. It likes to keep you on your toes. The Raiju is an electric demon where it will be faster if there is equipment around that it can draw energy from. It sounds similar to a Jinn, but a Jinn focuses more on the overall power, whereas the Raiju focuses more on the equipment that's around it. With that being said, there has also been changes to the gameplay, the AI, and a lot of other bugs and fixes. Nothing major that can be popped up. However, there has been a lot of bugs with the new update that they addressed in a hotfix, and they're going to constantly adjust in the coming weeks and days because they want to make sure that this update gets utilized properly. We won't go through every single change that has been put into the game. However, we could talk about some of the main ones. The main ones being fingerprints disappear after 60 seconds. They also have a low chance to not leave fingerprints. So what this means is you have to be pretty quick in discovering fingerprints in the maps. The other positive thing about it though is if you do note that is a fingerprint ghost and you are able to take a picture of it, once the fingerprint disappears, if the ghost touches the same door, you're able to take a picture of the same door and count as 2 different photos instead of just being 1 photo per door, which is a nice little add-on to the game. Attic and basement ghosts will only roam to the next floor. They won't go completely across to the other side of the map. So if you have a 3-story building, the ghost won't go from the attic to the basement and vice versa. It will only stay within that range. The bone has been updated. Instead of just being a small little regular dog bone, it has been updated to a bone of the human body. So you can have a skull, a jaw, a rib cage, some humeral bones, femur bones, hands, feet. If it's a part of the human body, the bone will be represented as such. A big change in this is instead of only having a couple of maps show up when you decide to choose your contract, all the maps will always show at all times. So you can choose whichever map you want to play, as opposed to only having 1 or 2 show up. They've also adjusted the speed the ghost can move during a hunt and normally when chasing a player. That basically covers the entire big update for Phasmophobia. Now, out of all the co-op games that have come out, Phasmophobia's update was the largest and probably most anticipated. Made the investigations a lot more challenging. The game itself is a lot more challenging. So, if you haven't played Phasmophobia for a while, it is a completely new game. Remember, I'm going to do reviews later on in other videos. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this helped you out. Keep updated on the newest changes and a lot of the games, and I hope you all have a happy Halloween and be safe out there.